Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker. Picture waking in a Mayan hut, jungle heat drenching you, realizing you're not in modern times. Welcome to the real Mayan empire, where smartphones are useless, and the only app is a stone tool. The Maya were geniuses, mastering astronomy, math, and architecture. But you'd be begging for a time machine before lunch. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you enjoy what I do here. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. It's dawn, around 700 CE, and you're in a bustling Mayan city like Tikal or Palenque. Deep in the Mesoamerican jungles, the air is thick, humid, and smells of earth and smoke. You're sprawled on a woven mat. No mattress. Just a thin layer between you and the dirt floor. Your bed is in a one-room hut made of mud and thatch, about the size of a modern studio apartment, but shared with 6 other people, your family, maybe some cousins. The walls don't block the sounds of snoring, jungle critters, or the neighbor's rooster, which is apparently on a mission to ruin your sleep. You're itchy, sweaty, and there's no snooze button for this reality. You sit up, groggy, expecting coffee or at least a shower to kickstart your day. Nope, your modern instincts are already screaming. Abort mission. The hut is dark, lit only by slivers of sunlight sneaking through the thatch. You fumble for your sandals, rough leather strips that feel like they were designed to punish your feet. Outside, the city hums with life merchants shouting, kids running, and the distant thud of stone tools. The Maya built pyramids and observatories, but their daily grind is a far cry from your air-conditioned dreams. You're not a noble, just an average farmer or laborer. So your day is about survival, not stargazing. Your stomach growls, but breakfast isn't a quick cereal run. You're already behind. Your family expects you to help with chores before the sun climbs higher. The thought of Wi-Fi or a flush toilet feels like a cruel joke. The Maya didn't have those, and their world doesn't care about your comfort. You're not just out of place, you're out of your depth. Imagine trying to explain streaming to someone who thinks a calendar stone is high-tech. You'd get blank stares. Maybe a laugh. Your first reality check, the Mayan Empire, is a masterpiece of human ingenuity, but it's also a relentless test of endurance you're not ready for. As you stumble outside, the jungle heat slaps you like a wet towel. Your modern life soft pillows. Installed coffee. Climate control is a distant memory. You're in a world where every task, from eating to sleeping, is a battle against nature and necessity. The Maya thrived here for centuries. But you're already counting the hours until you can nope out of this. Spoiler, it's going to be a long day. You step outside the hut, and the jungle hits you like a wall. The air is thick, almost chewable, with humidity that makes your clothes stick to your skin in seconds. It's not even mid-morning, but the heat is already relentless, like being wrapped in a hot wet blanket. You're used to air conditioning, maybe a fan at worst, but here, the only relief is a slight breeze that barely cuts through the oppressive atmosphere. The jungle is alive, with sounds, birds screeching, insects buzzing, and the distant roar of something you'd rather not meet. You're not in a nature documentary, you're in the middle of it. And it's not as charming as it looks on television. The Mayan Empire thrived in this environment, from the lowland jungles of Guatemala to the highlands of Chiapas. They built cities, farms, and trade routes through dense forests. But for you, it's a nightmare. The jungle floor is a tangle of roots and vines, and every step feels like a potential ankle twister. You're not just walking. You're navigating a maze of greenery that seems determined to trip you up. And the wildlife. Let's just say it's not your friend. Jaguars prowl the shadows, their golden eyes watching from the underbrush. Snakes, some venomous, slither through the leaves, and spiders the size of your hand hang from webs that could double as hammocks. You're not arachnophobic, but this might change that. Then there are the insects. Mosquitos swarm you, their bites relentless, and you can almost hear them laughing at your lack of bug spray. Ants, some with bites that feel like tiny daggers, march in lines across your path. And don't get me started on the chiggers, those microscopic mites that burrow into your skin and make you itch for days. The Maya had ways to deal with these pests, like smearing themselves with oils or using herbal repellents. But you're fresh meat. Your modern sensibilities are screaming for DEET. But the closest thing here is a shaman's chant, and that's not going to cut it. The jungle isn't just a backdrop. It's a character in this story, and it's not on your side. The Maya adapted to it, building raised fields to farm in swamps and using slash-and-burn techniques to clear land. They knew which plants were edible, which were medicinal, and which could kill you. You, on the other hand, can barely tell a fern from a frond. Imagine trying to find breakfast in this green chaos. You'd probably grab the wrong berry and spend the day regretting it. The Maya were masters of their environment, but you're a tourist at best. And the jungle doesn't take kindly to amateurs. As you wipe the sweat from your brow, you realize this is just the beginning. The jungle is beautiful. Yes, but it's also brutal. Every step is a reminder that you're not built for this. Your modern life has pampered you with climate control and bug screens. But here, you're exposed, vulnerable, and already wishing for a way out. The Maya lived in harmony with this wilderness. But you're just trying not to get eaten, stung, or lost. And it's only been an hour. You're back in the hut. And it's time to face the reality of your new home. It's not exactly the cozy, Instagram-worthy tiny house you might have pictured when you thought about simplifying your life. No, this is a Mayan dwelling deep, and it's as basic as it gets. The walls are a rough patchwork of mud and sticks, slapped together with a technique that's been around longer than your family's oldest traditions. The roof, it's thatch dried palm leaves piled up thick enough to mostly keep out the rain, but not the critters that scurry and skitter through the gaps. You're sharing this space with your family, and by space, I mean one cramped room that's about the size of a modern living room minus the plush sofa, the flat screen television, or any semblance of soundproofing. There's no such thing as privacy here. Your bed is a woven mat laid out on the packed dirt floor, and your pillow is just a rolled-up blanket that's more threadbare than cozy. You're sleeping inches away from your parents, your siblings, maybe even a cousin or two who wandered in. Personal space isn't a thing, never has been. If someone snores, it's a group concert. If someone talks in their sleep, you're all part of the conversation. Stretching out in the morning, good luck not smacking someone in the face. You're packed in tighter than a can of sardines. And the only barrier between you and the outside world is a rickety wooden door that doesn't even have a lock. Home security. That's the neighbor's dog barking at shadows. And it's not exactly winning any awards for vigilance. The hut is dim, with just a few small openings in the walls for light and air, no windows. No glass. Just holes in the thatch that let in a stingy breeze and a whole lot of bugs. Mosquitos, ants, spiders. They've all RSVP'd to the party in your home, and they brought friends. You're itchy all the time, and there's no bug spray or screen doors to bail you out. The Maya relied on smoke from the cooking fire to shoo away some of the pests. But that just means your home sweet home smells like a perpetual campfire. and your eyes are always stinging. It's a brutal choice. Breathe the smoky air or become an insect buffet. Speaking of that cooking fire, it's a small hearth in the corner, no chimney, no ventilation, so the smoke just hangs around, coating everything in a thin layer of soot. Your clothes, your hair, even your meals taste faintly of charcoal. The floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps, but still dusty enough to keep you busy. Your daily chore is sweeping it with a bundle of twigs, forget vacuums or mops. This is DIY at its most primitive. And the bathroom, there isn't one. You'll have to step outside for that little adventure. But let's not spoil the surprise just yet. Your modern mind is probably crying out for a little comfort, a soft mattress, a fan to cut through the sticky heat, maybe even a light switch. But here, the only light comes from the sun during the day or a flickering oil lamp made from a hollowed-out gourd at night. When darkness falls, it's absolute, and the jungle outside provides the soundtrack howler monkeys screeching like they're auditioning for a horror flick, insects buzzing, and the occasional rustle of something you'd rather not meet. You're used to white noise machines or the hum of a city. But this is nature's unfiltered mixtape. Sleep tight if you can. The Maya made these huts work for centuries, raising families and building lives in them without complaint. But for you, it's a masterclass in discomfort. Your back's already complaining from the hard floor. Your skin's a playground for bugs. And the sheer lack of basic amenities is grinding you down faster than you'd like to admit. You're not just homesick, you're convenience sick. And it's only day one. Buckle up, because tomorrow's morning routine is going to make this feel like a warm-up. You wake up, and nature calls. There's no bathroom door to close. No porcelain throne waiting for you. Instead, you stumble outside, still groggy from sleep, to locate the communal latrine area. It's a small clearing at the jungle's edge, marked by a few worn stones. The smell hits you hard, a pungent blend of human waste and the damp, earthy scent of the forest. You try to hold your breath, but it's a futile effort in the humid morning air. Squatting down, you realize the grim truth: there's no toilet paper here. A fellow villager hands you a few broad leaves, and you inspect them with a mix of curiosity and dread. Are they soft enough? Clean enough? You can't help but pine for the plush, quilted rolls of your modern life. Now, a distant dream. The leaves do their job, sort of, but leave you feeling far from fresh. Next, it's time to clean up. You trudge to the nearby stream. It's cool, clear water, a small mercy in the rising heat. You splash some on your face, longing for the steamy embrace of a hot shower. There's no soap or shampoo, just the water and, if you're lucky, a handful of herbs plucked from the bank. You scrub with your hands, but the grime clings stubbornly to your skin. Cleanliness feels like an unattainable luxury. As you wade in the stream, you're not alone. Others are bathing too, chatting and laughing as if this is perfectly normal, which, for them, it is. There's no privacy, no curtain to hide behind. You feel exposed. Every splash and scrub on display for all to see. The solitude of a modern bathroom, with its lockable door and quiet moments, is a fantasy you can barely grasp. Hygiene here isn't just about comfort, it's a matter of survival. The Maya lack modern sanitation, making diseases like dysentery, parasites, and infections a constant menace. Without plumbing or waste systems, the communal latrine is little more than a shared pit, and the stream doubles as both bath and laundry. You shudder, thinking of the germs lurking everywhere, and silently thank the universe for the vaccines and antibiotics you once took for granted. Yet, the Maya endure and even thrive. They've adapted, using specific plants for cleaning and maintaining these latrine areas as best they can. Some elites might enjoy sweat lodges for a deeper cleanse. But for you, it's just leaves and stream water. Their resilience is awe-inspiring, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of hardship. As you dry off with a rough cloth and head back to the village, a mix of emotions swirls within you. Admiration fills your chest for the Maya's ability to make do. But dread gnaws at your gut. Another day looms ahead, full of these unfamiliar struggles. You wonder how long you can last in this world, where even the simplest morning routine feels like a battle against nature itself. The sun is barely up, but the village is already stirring. You're still groggy from a night of fitful sleep on that hard mat, and your stomach is growling louder than the howler monkeys in the distance. Back home, breakfast was a quick affair: cereal, toast, maybe a smoothie if you were feeling fancy. Here, in the heart of the Mayan Empire, it's a whole different ballgame. You're about to learn that even something as simple as eating requires a level of effort and ingenuity you've never had to muster before. First things first, there's no fridge to raid, no pantry stocked with snacks. The Maya didn't have the luxury of food preservation as we know it. They relied on what they could grow, hunt, or gather, and everything was fresh, or as fresh as it could be in the jungle heat. Your family's food supply is limited to what's been harvested recently, and it's not exactly a buffet. The staples are maize, beans, squash, and maybe some chili peppers if you're lucky. Maize, or corn, is the backbone of the Mayan diet, but it's not the fluffy, buttery cob you're used to. It's ground into a dough called masa, which is then shaped into tortillas or tamales. Sounds simple. Right, wrong. Making that dough is a back-breaking process that starts long before the sun rises. Your mother, or maybe your sister, is already up, hunched over a stone metate, grinding maize kernels into flour. The metate is a flat, rectangular stone, and she's using a mano, a smaller stone, to crush the kernels with a rhythmic grinding motion. It's hard work, and it takes hours to produce enough flour for the day's meals. You're expected to help, but your modern arms aren't used to this kind of labor. After just a few minutes, your shoulders ache, and you're sweating buckets. The Maya women did this every day, from childhood to old age, their hands calloused and strong from years of grinding. You, on the other hand, are already dreaming of a coffee shop where someone else does the work. Once the masa is ready, it's time to cook. There's no stove, no microwave, just a clay comel heated over an open fire. You slap the masa onto the hot surface, and it sizzles, filling the air with an earthy, slightly sweet aroma. The tortillas are small and thick, not the thin, pliable ones you'd get at a taco stand. They're hearty, though, and you're grateful for that because it's all you're getting for breakfast. Maybe, if the harvest was good, there's a side of beans, boiled and mashed into a paste. No bacon, not eggs, no avocado toast, just tortillas and beans, washed down with water from a clay jug. It's bland, it's basic, and it's barely enough to fuel the grueling day ahead. But wait, there's more. If you're lucky, there might be some fruit to add a little variety. The Maya cultivated papayas, guavas, and avocados, but these were seasonal and not always available. You might get a handful of berries or a slice of melon, but don't count on it. And forget about coffee or tea. The Maya drank a beverage called atole, a vorm, porridge-like drink made from maize. But it's more filling than flavorful. You take a sip and grimace. It's like drinking watery oatmeal with no sugar or cinnamon to save it. As you chew your tough tortilla, you can't help but think about the breakfasts of your past life. Pancakes dripping with syrup, crispy bacon, fresh orange juice. Here, food is fuel, not pleasure. The Maya were masters of agriculture, developing techniques like terracing and irrigation to maximize their yields. But their diet was still limited by what the land could provide. They didn't have the global trade networks that bring us bananas in winter or coffee from halfway around the world. Everything you eat is local, seasonal, and hard-won. You finish your major meal, still hungry, but knowing there's no second helping. The day's work awaits, and you'll need every ounce of energy to get through it. As you wipe your hands on your tunic, you realize that breakfast here isn't just a meal. It's a reminder of how much you've taken for granted. The convenience of a stocked kitchen, the variety of a grocery store, the ease of a drive-through, all gone. In the Mayan Empire, every bite is earned through sweat and toil, and you're already missing the simple joy of a Pop-Tart. Picture this. You've just choked down a tasteless breakfast of maize mush when the day decides to slap you awake. The sun's barely up, but the jungle heat is already clinging to you like a damp towel. Your new Mayan family is trudging toward the fields, and surprised they expect you to tag along. Back in your cushy modern life, farming might mean misting a sad basil plant or nodding sagely at a farmer's market. Here, in the Mayan Empire, it's a full-contact sport, and you're about to get pummeled. The Maya were agricultural rock stars. They carved farmland out of wild jungles, feeding sprawling cities without a single tractor or Home Depot in sight. But that brilliance came with a price tag: pure, unrelenting toil. You're not here to sip coffee and admire the scenery. You're about to learn why Slash and Burn isn't just a cool band name. Step 1. Clear the land. You're handed a stone axe, because apparently metal hasn't been invited to this party and sent into the jungle to chop down anything that moves slower than you do. Trees, vines, shrubs, they all get the axe. Then you torch the pile. The fire roars. The smoke chokes you, and the ash settles into a fertilizer blanket for the soil. It's clever, I sure, but your arms feel like overcooked noodles, and you're pretty sure you've inhaled half the forest. You glance around for a water cooler or a shady bench. Nope, just more jungle and judgmental Mayan stares. Step 2. Planting. They toss you a digging stick. Imagine a sharpened broom handle and point at the ground. You bend over, jabbing holes into the dirt, dropping maize seeds, and patting them closed. Hours pass. Your back's begging for mercy. The sun's roasting you alive, and sweat stinging your eyes. Modern yew is used to climate control and ergonomic chairs. This is a sweaty, stooped-over nightmare, and you're the weakest link. Oh, and the jungle, it's not your friend. Bugs swarm your face. Ants invade your sandals, and every rustle in the bushes could be a snake sizing you up. The Maya shrug it off. They've been at this forever. You're a whining, itching wreck, mentally drafting a complaint letter to Mother Nature. Here's the twist. Though farming wasn't just survival for the Maya, it was holy. Maize was a divine gift, and every seed you plant ties you to their gods. It's a poetic thought. But with blisters blooming on your hands and your spine auditioning for the hunchback role, you're not feeling particularly spiritual. You're too busy plotting an escape to Wi-Fi and ibuprofen. These people were tough as nails. They built an empire on this grind, day after day. No sick days or weekends. You, meanwhile, are a modern marshmallow, already dreaming of quitting time, with the sun still blazing overhead. No clocks, no breaks, just you, the dirt, and a growing hatred for agriculture. When the day finally ends, you limp back to the village. Aswerti. aching mess. You collapse. Hands off. Body wrecked. And realize dinner's still a distant hope. Farming here isn't some romantic one with nature fantasy. It's a brutal slog that'd break most of us. As you lie there, you can't help but pine for your old life grocery stores. Takeout. A world where hard labor means a slow elevator. The Maya mastered this land, but you're just a tourist, counting the seconds until you're back in the 21st century. Picture this. You've just survived a day of backbreaking farm work in the Mayan Empire. Your body screaming for a break. When your new family casually announces it's time to hunt, no. Not a quick trip to the store or a scroll through a delivery app, actual hunting. The kind where dinner might eat you first. In the Mayan world, hunting was a dangerous, often fruitless slog. A far cry from popping a pizza in the oven. So, grab your spear, say a quick prayer, and let's stumble into the jungle to see why this was less sport and more survival roulette. The Maya didn't mess around with high-tech gear. Their arsenal, spears with stone tips, slings for chucking rocks, maybe a blowgun if they were feeling fancy. They hunted deer. Peccaries, think wild pigs, with attitude. Monkeys, and birds, none of which were lining up to be caught. You're part of a small crew trudging into the jungle. A tangled mess of vines, roots, and humidity that clings like a wet blanket. Every step is a battle against thorns, uneven ground, and the sinking feeling that something's watching you. Spoiler, it probably is. Hunting here was a crapshoot. The prey fast, sneaky, and perfectly at home in this green chaos. You spot a deer score, but your spear wobbles mid-air, and it's gone before you can blink. A peccary snorts in the bushes, but your clumsy modern feet snap a twig, and it bolts. Monkeys jeer from the treetops, untouchable unless you're dumb enough to climb after them, and birds flutter just out of sling range. Hours drag by, and your tally stays at 0. The Maya might have had dogs to sniff out prey or traps to even the odds, but today, it's just you, your shaky aim, and a whole lot of nothing. And the danger, oh, it's everywhere. The jungle wasn't just a hunting ground, it was a predator's playground. Jaguars lurked in the shadows, silent until their claws were in your back. Snakes, some venomous, some just mean hid in the undergrowth, ready to make your day worse. Even the prey could turn the tables. A cornered peccary might charge, tusks gleaming, or a monkey could lunge with surprising strength. One misstep, and you're not just failing at dinner, you're becoming it. The Maya knew this dance well. But you're sweating through your tunic, wondering how anyone survived this gig. The kicker, though, is the payoff or lack thereof. Even if you beat the odds and bag a deer, it's barely enough to feed your family for a couple of days. A bird or two, more like an appetizer. Most times, you'd limp home, empty-handed, your stomach growling louder than the howler monkeys overhead. Back in the 21st century, you'd shrug and order takeout. Here, failure means maize mush again. Maybe a side of hunger-induced grumpiness. The Maya had rituals to honor the hunt, believing the animal's spirits needed respect. But you're too tired to care, you just want a nap and a meal that doesn't require a chase. By the time you stagger back to the village, maybe with a scrawny deer, if the gods took pity, you're a wreck. Blisters, bug bites, and a bruised ego are your souvenirs. The Maya shrug it off. This was their norm, a test of grit and luck they faced daily. You, though you're mentally drafting an apology to your microwave. Hunting in the Mayan Empire was a high-stakes grind, dangerous, exhausting, and too often a bust. Next time someone complains about a long grocery line, just smile and tell them about the day you almost became jaguar chow for a turkey that got away. You return from the hunt, empty-handed and exhausted. The jungle heat clings to you like a second skin, and your stomach growls louder than a howler monkey staking its claim. But don't get your hopes up for a quick snack. Dinner won't cook itself. And in the Mayan Empire, that's a grim reality check. You trudge back to the village, where the cooking fires are already crackling, spitting embers into the evening air like tiny, spiteful stars. The cooking setup is about as basic as it gets: a hearth of rough stones, a clay comal for tortillas, and a few pots that look like they've seen better centuries. No stovetop, no oven, no gleaming array of kitchen gadgets to save your sorry soul. Everything here is manual labor, powered by sweat and stubbornness, with tools that haven't evolved since your ancestors decided fire was a neat trick. You're handed a basket of maize kernels and directed to the metate, a hulking stone slab that's basically a medieval treadmill for your upper body. Time to grind. Champ. You pick up the mano, a hefty stone roller that feels like it's mocking your puny modern biceps, and start crushing the maize into flour. It's brutal. You're hunched over, pressing your whole weight into each grind, and within minutes, your arms are begging for a truce. Too bad this is just the warm-up. Turning a handful of kernels into enough flour for the day takes hours, and it's a chore you'll repeat tomorrow, and the day after, until your spirit breaks or your muscles give out, whichever comes first. Meanwhile, your sisters are busy with the supporting cast of this culinary tragedy. One's soaking beans in a clay pot, coaxing them into something edible after an eternity of simmering. Another's hacking at squash with a stone knife that's more enthusiasm than precision. If the hunt had gone your way, there might have been a scrap of meat to toss in. But today's menu is strictly vegetarian grains and greens. The Mayan Minimalist Special. You catch yourself daydreaming about popping a frozen pizza in the oven or hitting speed dial for delivery. Back home, you'd be eating in 10 minutes. Here, you're staring down a multi-hour ordeal for a meal that might not even shut up your growling stomach. Still, there's a strange harmony to it all. Your family moves like a well-rehearsed troupe, chattering and chuckling as they work. They rib you for your snail-paced grinding. Your hands weren't built for this, but it's all in good fun. You're the rookie, and they're cutting you some slack. The air fills with the smoky tang of burning wood, blending with the earthy aroma of boiling beans and the subtle sweetness of roasting squash. It's almost soothing, a promise of food amid the chaos. The village hums around you, kids giggling, dogs yapping, the steady thwack of someone splitting firewood. Food isn't just survival here. It's the glue holding this sweaty, noisy world together. At long last, the meal comes together. You huddle around the fire, passing tortillas warm, slightly charred and nutty from the maize, and scooping beans with your fingers like it's a casual Friday. The beans are soft, savory, spiked with a pinch of salt and some wild herbs you can't name. It's no five-star spread, but it's fuel, and after all that work, you're oddly proud of it. Still, your 21st century brain whines for a dishwasher to tackle the mess or a fridge for leftovers. Fat chance dishes get scrubbed in the stream, and leftovers food's too scarce to leave behind. As you eat, you can't miss the pecking order playing out. The village leader, a grizzled guy with tattoos that scream authority, digs into a bigger bowl, his share noticeably heftier. Your own skimpy portion hits you like a slap. You're a nobody here. In Mayan society, your spot on the social ladder dictates everything. What you eat, what you do, how you're treated. And you're definitely not dining at the top table. Picture this. You wake up at dawn, the air thick with humidity, and your day's already mapped out not by your alarm clock or to-do list, but by the invisible chains of Mayan hierarchy. As a commoner, your mornings aren't for sipping coffee and scrolling through your phone. No, you're hauling water, tending crops, or schlepping stones for some noble's latest temple project. The elite. They're still snoozing in their stone palaces, maybe dreaming up new ways to keep you in line. Your daily grind isn't just hard, it's a constant reminder that you're a small fry in a system that doesn't care about your hustle. And it's not just the labor that's dictated by your rank. Every interaction you have is a tightrope walk over a pit of social faux pas. Say you're chatting with a fellow farmer at the market, safe enough. Right, but then a merchant strolls by, and you accidentally make eye contact. Oops, that's a breach of etiquette. Merchants don't mingle with the likes of you unless there's profit involved. And even then, they're doing you a favor. You lower your gaze, mumble an apology, and hope no one important noticed. Back home, you'd shrug it off. But here, a slip like that could mark you as uppity or worse. Disrespectful, food's another slap in the face from the hierarchy. You're stuck with maize, beans, and maybe a scrap of turkey if you're lucky. Meanwhile, the nobles are feasting on venison, fish, and those precious cacao drinks you'll never taste. You catch a whiff of their meal drifting from the city centre, and your stomach growls in protest. But don't even think about sneaking a bite of their leftovers. Stealing from the elite isn't just a crime. It's a one-way ticket to a very bad day. Your diet's bland and basic because that's what your status allows. And the hierarchy makes sure you feel it with every bite. Even your downtime, if you can call it that, is shaped by this rigid system. After a long day, you might want to kick back, maybe flirt with someone at a communal gathering. But whoops, there's that class divide again. You spot a cute artisan across the fire, their hands stained with dye from crafting pottery. Tempting, but dangereux, if you pursue it. You're not just risking rejection, you're inviting gossip, shame, or even punishment. The Maya didn't mess around with keeping classes separate. And your modern notions of love conquers all don't apply. So, you sit there, sipping your watery maize brew, while the elite flirt freely in their exclusive circles. And then there's the constant shadow of authority. The nobles and priests don't just outrank you, they control your fate. If a priest decides the gods need appeasing, guess who's first in line to volunteer for extra work or worse? You. If a ruler's in a bad mood, your whole village might feel the ripple effects. More taxes, more labor, less mercy. You're not just living day to day, you're surviving a system where your worth is measured by your birth, not your character. Every sunrise brings the same lesson in the Mayan Empire. The hierarchy doesn't bend, and you're not the exception. You're jolted awake by the sound of drums deep, insistent beats that rattle your bones. It's not a call to breakfast, it's a summons to the city's heart, where the gods await their due. You drag yourself out of bed, your muscles still aching from yesterday's labor, and join the throng heading to the plaza. The air buzzes with a mix of excitement and dread. You've heard whispers today's ritual is big, maybe even a sacrifice. Your stomach churns. Back home, sacrifice was skipping dessert. Here, it's a whole different beast. The plaza is packed, bodies pressed together under the relentless sun. At the center, the pyramid looms, its steps stained with history. Priests in feathered headdresses chant, their voices weaving through the crowd like smoke. You crane your neck, trying to see what's happening. There, at the top, a figure is being prepared, bound, painted, resigned. You want to look away, but you can't. The crowd holds its breath as the priest raises his obsidian knife, The world narrows to that glinting blade, and then it's over. The crowd erupts in cheers, but you're left reeling, your modern mind grappling with the brutality of it all. But it's not just the big ceremonies that weigh on you. Every day, you're expected to honor the gods in smaller ways. You wake before dawn to light incense, whispering prayers for protection, for rain, for mercy. You offer bits of food, even when your own stomach growls. It's exhausting, this constant devotion, but you can't slack off. The priests have eyes everywhere, and their wrath is almost as fearsome as the gods. You're trapped in a cycle of faith and fear, with no escape hatch in sight. The Maya had a god for everything: Chak for rain, Yum Karks for agriculture, even a god of death, Pach, who probably wasn't invited to many parties. Each deity had their own demands, and it was your job to keep them all happy. Forget one, and you might wake up to a drought or a plague of locusts. It's like juggling flaming torches while riding a unicycle mess up, and everything goes up in smoke. The priests were the rock stars of Mayan society, part holy men. Par enforcés, they read the stars, interpreted dreams, and decided when the gods were pleased or pissed. If they said the gods needed blood, you didn't argue. You just hoped it wasn't yours. Their word was law, and their rituals were non-negotiable. You're starting to understand why people back home complain about traffic tickets. At least those don't involve heart extraction. You're not cut out for this. Every day, you feel the weight of the gods' expectations pressing down on you, and it's suffocating. You long for a world where divine intervention means finding a parking spot, not averting cosmic disaster. But there's no opting out. This is your life now, and you have to play by the rules or pay the price. You miss the simplicity of your old life, where religious obligation meant sitting through a boring sermon or tossing a coin in a collection plate. Here, it's a full-body experience, and you're not sure how much more you can take. But hey, at least you're getting your steps in, climbing those pyramid stairs, silver linings. Right. Picture this: you're drenched in sweat. But it's not just the sticky jungle heat. Your head's throbbing like a Mayan drum at a festival, and your stomach's flipping like an acrobat who forgot the landing. Congrats, you've just entered the delightful realm of Mayan health hazards, where every day is a dice roll with diseases that'd make your modern immune system cry uncle. Let's say you're down with something nasty, maybe malaria, courtesy of those bloodthirsty mosquitoes that treat you like an all-you-can-eat buffet, or dysentery from that sketchy stream you sipped because dehydration seemed worse at the time. Back in your cozy 21st century life, you'd grab some antibiotics, guzla elektroitesh, and vegetate on the couch with Netflix until you felt human again. Here you're stuck in the jungle with a healer who's eyeing your skull like it's a DIY project. Spoiler alert, trepanation drilling a hole to release the bad spirits is not the spa day you're hoping for. The Maya lived in a tropical wonderland. Sure, but it came with a catch, a guest list of parasites, infections, and fevers ready to crash the party. Sanitation was a distant dream. Indoor plumbing wouldn't show up for another millennium, and the local latrine was more pinch your nose and hope than flush and forget. Diseases spread like wildfire at a dry season barbecue, and without modern medicine, survival boiled down to your body's grit or the gods' good graces. So, you drag yourself to the village healer, expecting a quick fix. Nope. Mayan medicine was a chaotic cocktail of herbal guesswork, spiritual vibes, and a sprinkle of let's wing it. You might get a leafy poultice smeared on your chest, a bitter concoction that tastes like regret distilled, or a full-on ritual with incense, chants, and a sacrificial chicken. If things look dicey, gotta kill a headache. They might suggest cracking your skull open literally because nothing says, feel better like a stone drill and no anesthesia. Suddenly, your old dentist chair sounds like paradise. Don't get me wrong, the Maya weren't clueless. They'd figured out some plant, like willow bark, nature's aspirin, could ease pain or cool a fever. But it was a crapshoot, no labs, no clinical trials, just a healer squinting at you, muttering, probably evil spirits. You'd trade your left sandal for a bottle of Advil or a sterile bandage. But here, it's all about nature's pharmacy and a prayer. Even small stuff could turn big. Nick your hand on a jagged rock while farming. Back home, it's neosporin and a band-aid problem solved. In the Mayan Empire, that cuts a VIP pass for infection. And the best you'll get is some mystery goo rubbed on it, while you hope gangrene doesn't RSVP. Painkillers, maybe a slug of pulque, a fermented brew that's more likely to get you buzzed than numb the sting. Here's the kicker, no one's immune. Farmer. Priest. King disease didn't check your resume. The Maya shrugged it off as life. But you're fantasizing about soap, vaccines, and a doctor who doesn't think bloodletting is peak innovation. So, there you are, feverish, miserable, swatting mosquitoes in the dark, in the Mayan Empire. Staying healthy wasn't just tough, it was a survival gig you're laughably unprepared for. Good luck sleeping tonight. You'll need it. You wake up in the Mayan Empire, bleary-eyed from a night on a rock-hard mat, and it's time to face the day. Step 1, get dressed. Back in your modern life, this was a breeze jeans, a t-shirt, maybe some sneakers. Simple, comfortable, familiar. But here, you're handed a pile of scratchy cotton and leather scraps that look more like a craft project than a wardrobe. Good luck surviving this fashion disaster. First up, the loincloth. It's a long, coarse strip of cotton that's supposed to wrap around your waist and... strategic areas. You fumble with it, twisting and knotting, praying it stays put. Success feels temporary. It's like wearing a burlap towel with no elastic or buttons to save you. One wrong step, and you're flashing the village. The chafing starts immediately, and you're already nostalgic for the soft hug of your stretchy boxers. This is not a vibe. Then there's the tunic. You pull it over your head, and it flops down like a shapeless sack, hitting your knees with all the grace of a deflated parachute. No fitted seams, no breathable fabrics, just a heavy, sweaty drape that clings in the tropical heat. You're roasting within minutes. You spot some Mayan elites gliding by in their fancy embroidered robes, dripping with feathers and jade, looking like they're ready for the red carpet. Meanwhile, you're stuck in the peasant edition, feeling like a walking laundry mistake. The sandals are the final insult. They're little more than leather soles with straps you tie around your ankles, think flip-flops. But flimsier and with zero cushioning. You lace them up, take a step, and immediately regret it. Every pebble and stick on the ground stabs through, and your toes are fully exposed to the dirt and bugs. Compared to your padded sneakers, these are a cruel joke. Your feet are begging for mercy before you've even left the hut. It's not just the physical torture that gets you, it's the cultural mismatch. The locals strut around in their loincloths and tunics like it's no big deal, perfectly at ease in the humidity. You're tripping over your hem, yanking at your loincloth, and hobbling in sandals that won't stay tied. They're staring, and you can't tell if they're amused or pitying you. Probably both. In Mayan society, clothing screams status colors, patterns, and accessories all mean something. Your basic get-up marks you as a nobody. And there's no quick fix to level up. Back home, You just throw on a cool jacket. Here, you're stuck screaming clueless outsider with every awkward shuffle. Take a peek at yourself in a puddle. And it's grim. The loincloth's drooping, the tunic's bunched up weirdly, and your sandals are half off. You look like you lost a fight with a clothesline. The tropical sun's beating down, the humidity's soaking you. And this outfit offers no relief, no moisture-wicking magic. Not lightweight comfort, just scratchy, heavy fabric that makes every move a struggle. Imagine hauling water or chopping wood in this mess. You wouldn't last an hour, let alone a day. So yeah, add fashion fails to the list of reasons you'd crumble in the Mayan Empire. Between the loincloth wedgies, the tunic sweat trap, and the sandals that hate your feet, you're a walking disaster. Modern clothing spoiled you with its zippers and stretch, and now you're paying the price. One day in this attire, and you'd be begging for a time machine or at least a pair of socks. So, you've stumbled into the Mayan Empire, still reeling from the last section's chaos, maybe dodging jaguars or sweating through a humidity-soaked trek. Now, you're thinking, okay, time to get cultured. Let's soak up some of that famous Mayan wisdom astronomy, hieroglyphs, the works. You're practically salivating at the thought of cracking their calendar code or flexing your modern brain on some ancient math. But hold up, champ. The Mayan education system is about to hit you with a plot twist. Knowledge here isn't for everyone. It's an elitist VIP party. And your name's not on the list. Picture this, you're buzzing with excitement, ready to enroll in Mayan U. Imagining yourself as the star pupil decoding star charts. Then reality kicks in. If you're not the kid of a noble or a priest, you're not stepping foot in their fancy temple classrooms. The elite get the red carpet treatment lounging on woven mats while some droning priest lectures them about the gods, the cosmos, and those wild hieroglyphs that look like a fever dream doodled by a genius. They're learning to read, write, and calculate like it's no big deal. All while you're stuck outside, squinting at the temple walls like, is that a snake or a really angry letter? Meanwhile, your education as a commoner is less scholarly pursuit and more Don't Die 101. No textbooks, no chalkboards, just your parents showing you the ropes of survival. You're trailing your dad through the fields, mastering the art of stabbing dirt with a stick to plant maize, or shadowing your mom as she weaves a basket. You'll inevitably mess up. It's hands-on. Sure, but it's not exactly prepping you for a TED Talk. Your big lesson of the day: how to grind corn until your arms scream or patch a roof with leaves before the next downpour. Thrilling, right? Oh, and don't even think about crashing the elite's party. You try sneaking into the temple school once, ducking behind a pillar like you're in a spy movie, hoping to catch a snippet of that sweet knowledge. But a priest with eyes like a hawk hauls you out by the ear, muttering about the order while you're left, wondering if you'll ever decode those cool carvings. Spoiler, you won't. They're locked away like a paywalled article, and you're fresh out of credits. For commoners, knowledge comes via the oral tradition. Think campfire stories on repeat. At night, you're huddled around the flames, listening to tales of gods like Chake hurling thunderbolts or the hero twins outsmarting death itself. It's like a podcast with no fast-forward button, narrated by your uncle who's really into dramatic pauses. You learn the big cultural hits, but it's not the same as cracking a book or Googling Mayan astronomy for dummies. You're on the outside, nose pressed against the glass of the elite's intellectual buffet. Here's the rub. Education wasn't just limited, it was a power flex. The elite hoarded it like a dragon with gold, using it to run the show while you're out here, knee-deep in mud, your brain gathering dust. A modern person like you, used to free Wi-Fi and public school, would lose it. No Wikipedia, no crash courses, just endless maze and a lifetime of sorry. Peasants don't get to play. You'd be begging for a time machine by lunch. Survival school's your only diploma. And trust me, it's not framed in gold. So, you're still here, fumbling with your lump of clay. Your dreams of being a Mayan crafting prodigy fading faster than a cheap dye in the rain. The truth is, sinking in crafting goods in the Mayan Empire wasn't just skilled, it was a full-body punishment disguised as talent. Those beautiful artifacts you've seen in museums, they didn't come from a leisurely afternoon of creative vibes. They came from sweat, sore muscles, and a stubborn refusal to quit. Because quitting meant going hungry. Take woodworking. For example, you're handed a hardwood log and a stone adze, basically a fancy rock tied to a stick, and told to carve a canoe paddle. Sounds rustic? Right. Except the wood's tougher than your old gym teacher. And your tool's about as precise as a sledgehammer. You swing, you scrape, you curse under your breath as splinters dig into your palms. Hours later, you've got a crooked stick that might work as firewood if you're lucky. The Mayan carpenter next to you, he's already finished a paddle so smooth it could double as a mirror, all while barely breaking a sweat. Skill took decades to hone, but the exhaustion hit day one. Then there's pigment making. Oh, you'll love this. You're grinding cochineal bugs into a fine powder for that vibrant red dye the nobles adore. The pestil's heavy, the mortar's unforgiving, and your arms are screaming after 10 minutes. The bugs, they're sticky, they stink, and you're pretty sure some of that red on your hands isn't dye. It's you. The end result is a color so rich it's worth more than gold. But the process feels like a medieval workout video. Feel the burn. Peasant skilled, sure. Exhausting. You're ready to nap for a week. Even the easy jobs wore you down. Basket weaving sounds chill until you're wrestling with reeds that snap if you blink at them wrong. Your fingers bleed from the splinters. Your neck's stiff from bending over. And the basket still looks like a drunk bird's nest. The Maya turned this into an art form: tight, functional, gorgeous. But every coil was a battle against your own body. You're not crafting goods, you're crafting regrets. The real kicker: precision mattered. A sloppy pot didn't just look bad, it leaked. A weak basket didn't carry squat. A dull tool got you yelled at by the guy who needed it yesterday. Crafting wasn't just about endurance. It was about nailing every detail while your hands shook and your stomach growled. The Maya pulled it off, creating goods that lasted centuries. But you're one chipped flint away from a meltdown. By nightfall, you're a human wreck, calluses forming, joints creaking, pride long gone. The skilled artisans around you churn out brilliance like it's nothing, but they've got years of grit you'll never catch up to. Crafting in the Mayan Empire was a masterclass in talent and torment, a daily grind that turned raw materials into art and soft newbies like you into whimpering heaps. You wouldn't last a day. Heck, you're not lasting this paragraph. You're bone-tired from a day in the fields. Your back screaming and your hands raw. When your Mayan family hands you a basket of maize and a mission, head to the market and trade it for salt. Back home, you'd zip to the store, grab a shaker, and be done. Here, in the heart of the Mayan Empire, it's a high-stakes game of cunning and patience. And you're about to learn. You're not cut out for it. You sling the heavy basket over your shoulder and trudge toward the city's bustling market, already dreading the chaos. The market is a sensory overload, vendors shouting, colors popping from woven textiles to gleaming obsidian blades. The air's thick with roasted maize, spices, and the faint tang of sweat. You weave through the crowd, dodging kids and merchants. Until you spot a salt vendor. His stall glints with piles of white crystals, like tiny treasures in the sun. You approach, trying to channel confidence, but your modern instincts are useless here. No price tags, no cash, just bartering. And you're flying blind. How much salt for this maize, you ask? Hefting your basket, your Mayan's shaky. But you hope it's enough. The vendor, a wiry man with eyes like a hawk, sizes you up. That basket, maybe a handful, he says, his tone dripping with skepticism. A handful, that's barely enough to season a meal, let alone preserve food for the family. You frown. This is good maize. Fresh. Worth at least 2 handfuls. He laughs. A dry chuckle that says newbie. Maize is everywhere. Salts from the coast, hard to get. 1.5. And I'm being kind. You're lost. Is salt really that scarce? Or is he playing you back home? You'd check an app or walk to another store. Here, you're stuck. And the vendor knows it. You glance around, hoping to spot someone else trading maize for salt. But the market's a whirlwind of deals: cacao beans for cloth, feathers for tools. You're on your own, and your negotiation skills are about as sharp as a butter knife. Fine, you mutter. 1.5. You hand over the basket, and he scoops salt into a small pouch. As you turn to leave, you catch another trader swapping a smaller basket of maize for the same amount of salt. Your stomach drops. You've been had. Trudging back to the village, the pouch feels lighter than your pride. In the Mayan Empire, trading isn't just swapping goods. It's a mental marathon. You need to know the value of everything maize. Salt, even your own sweat, and haggle like your life depends on it. The Maya mastered this, building trust with traders over years. But you're a fish out of water, flopping in a world where patience and cunning are currency. You'd kill for a supermarket, where prices are clear and nobody laughs at your offer. One market trip, and you're ready to tap out. You stumble back from the market. Your pride, bruised from a lousy salt trade, your body aching from a day of grinding maize and dodging vendor scams. All you want is to kick back, maybe stream a show or scroll through your phone. But in the Mayan Empire, leisure is a rare bird, and when it shows up, it's about as satisfying as a warm soda. You hear drums in the distance, a village gathering. Maybe, just maybe, you'll get a break. Spoiler, you won't. Welcome to the Mayan version of fun, where free time feels like another chore. The plaza is alive with flickering torches and the hum of voices. Drums pound out a rhythm, joined by flutes that wail like ghosts in the jungle night. Locals sway in the snake dance, their bodies twisting to mimic the sacred serpent. It's mesmerizing, sure, but you're too wiped to join in. Your modern idea of relaxation sprawling on a couch with a snack is a fantasy here. Dancing after a day of labor, that's just exercise with extra steps. You trade your left sandal for a Netflix subscription right now. Then there's Pocatok, the Mayan ball game. You spot players slamming a heavy rubber ball with their hips, aiming for a stone hoop high on a court wall. It's intense, like soccer meets gladiator combat, and the crowd roars with every hit. Sounds fun, until you hear the whispers losers might end up as a sacrifice to the gods. Suddenly, your high school gym class, dodgeball seems like a spa day. Playing for fun is one thing, but risking your neck for entertainment, hard pass? If physical stuff isn't your vibe, there's Patoli, a board game with a cross-shaped board and bean dice. You watch 2 guys bet their cloaks, their faces tense as they roll. It's strategic, sure, but the stakes are brutal. Lose, and you're walking home with nothing. You're not exactly itching to join. Your modern poker nights never ended with you gambling your shoes. The stress of it all feels more like work than play. Kids, at least, seem to have it better. They're off in a corner, spinning clay tops and rolling hoops, giggling like it's the best day ever. Cute, but you can't help comparing it to your childhood of video games and endless cartoons. Their toys are simple, their joy pure. But it's not enough to keep your overstimulated brain entertained. As the night drags on, you slump by a fire, listening to an elder spin tales of hero twins and jaguar gods. The stories are gripping, but your body's screaming for a real break, a soft bed, a quiet room, no obligations. Mayan leisure is all about community and ritual, not unwinding. The Maya loved their dances, games, and stories. But for you, it's just another demand on your exhausted self. You're craving the mindless escape of your old life, where fun didn't come with a side of survival. One evening of this, and you're ready to trade the whole plaza for a single lazy Sunday. You're still reeling from the market's bartering chaos. Your measly pouch of salt, a bitter reminder of your rookie status. Now, as you shuffle back to your thatched hut, you're hit with another reality check: family life. In the Mayan Empire isn't a cozy sitcom, it's a rigid, demanding machine. And you're a rusty cog. Every member has a role carved in stone, and slacking off isn't an option. You're used to modern flexibility, maybe splitting chores or dodging family dinners, but here, obligations are non-negotiable, and they're about to grind you down. Your family lives in a cramped, one-room hut. No walls, nor privacy, just you, your parents, siblings, and the occasional cousin, all breathing the same smoky air. Extended family, they're right next door. Their huts clustered like a nosy neighborhood watch. You can't sneeze without your aunt commenting on it. If you're a man, your day starts at dawn, trudging to the fields to plant maize, or hunting in the jungle with a spear that feels like a bad joke. You're no outdoorsman. Your idea of hunting is tracking down a good burger joint. Yet here you are, expected to bring home dinner or face the family's disappointed stares. If you're a woman, your world is the hut and the garden patch outside. You're grinding maize on a stone matate until your arms scream, weaving cloth by hand, and chasing kids who are already pulling their weight. It's not just cooking and cleaning, it's a marathon of manual labor. Your modern self, used to dishwashers and takeout, is gasping at the thought of hours spent turning corn into tortillas. And those kids, by age 5, they're fetching water or helping in the fields, treated like mini adults. Your childhood of cartoons and playdates feels like a fever dream. Then there's marriage, a whole new level of obligation. If you're a guy, you don't just tie the knot and set up house. Nope, you move in with your wife's parents for a stint, working for them like an unpaid intern, proving your worth. Imagine hauling water or chopping wood under your mother-in-law's hawk-like gaze, knowing one lazy day could tank your reputation. Only after this trial can you build your own hut next to your parents. Of course, because the family web never lets you go far. These roles aren't just tradition, they're survival. The Maya built tight-knit families to ensure everyone ate, worked, and stayed safe. But for you, it's suffocating. You're used to choosing your path, maybe negotiating who does the dishes. Here, your role is your life. New questions asked. You're not just failing at tasks, you're failing the family. And the weight of their expectations is heavier than any water jug. You'd trade anything for a world where family time means a group chat, not a lifetime of rigid, relentless duty. You're weaving through the village, still stinging from the weight of family duties, When a commotion pulls you toward the central plaza, a crowd's gathered, their murmurs thick with tension, faces etched with a mix of curiosity and fear. At the heart of it, a man stands with wrists bound, accused of stealing maize from a neighbor's hut. This isn't your modern courtroom with its gavels and appeals. This is Mayan justice raw, swift, and unforgiving. In the empire around 700 CE, laws were ironclad, and punishments could crush you faster than a falling stone. The judge, a stern noble perched on a stone platform, commands silence. Witnesses step forward, recounting the theft, the man sneaking in at dusk, the rustle of stolen grain. The accused stammers a defense, but the evidence is damning. Mayan trials were public, with the community as both jury and spectator. No lawyers, no lengthy delays, just a judge, often a local leader, weighing testimony and deciding your fate on the spot. The verdict comes quick: guilty. The punishment: his hair's shaved short, a mark of shame that'll brand him until it grows back. He's also ordered to repay the victim with labor, maybe even a chunk of his own harvest. But theft's a minor offense. You overhear whispers of worse crimes: murder, rape, treason, and the penalties make your blood run cold. For those, it's death, often gruesome, thrown from a cliff, stoned, or clubbed until the life drains out. The Maya didn't have prisons, so justice was immediate, designed to deter and punish, not rehabilitate. You shudder, imagining a slip-up landing you on that altar. Your modern notions of fair trial, as useless as a smartphone in this jungle. Even minor infractions sting. A careless word against a noble could mean extra taxes or public humiliation. The laws, meant to keep order in bustling city-states like Tikal, left no wiggle room, while sources suggest everyone faced the same rules. Nobles could grease the wheels with gifts, tipping the scales in their favor. You, a commoner, have no such leverage. One wrong move, say, trespassing in a sacred grove, and you're at the mercy of a system that doesn't blink. The crowd disperses. The thief led away, head bowed under his new shame. You're left rattled, the air heavy with the weight of what you've seen. Back home, you'd trust in appeals, rights, maybe a lawyer to smooth things over. Here, justice is a blade, sharp and final. The Maya built a society on these strict laws, but for you, every step feels like tiptoeing through a minefield. One misstep, and you're done. You're still shaken from witnessing that brutal trial in the plaza. The thief's shame, a stark reminder of the Mayan Empire's unforgiving laws. But if you thought justice was harsh, brace yourself for a darker shadow warfare. Around 700 CE, war isn't just a headline, it's a constant, gnawing threat that could shatter your life at any moment. As a commoner, you're not dodging the draft or watching from the sidelines, your neck deep in the chaos. And there's no opting out. Picture this: you're in the fields, hacking at maize stalks, when a runner sprints into the village, his face pale with urgency. Warriors from Calakmul are coming, he gasps. Your stomach drops. Calakmul, our rival city-state, is a powerhouse, and their approach spells danger. The village buzzes with panic. Mothers clutch children. Itlas muda payas. And you're summoned to the plaza. The leader, draped in a feathered headdress, barks orders: we defend our city. Every able hand is needed. You're no warrior, you're a farmer. Your calloused hands better suited to a digging stick than a spear. But war doesn't care. You're handed a wooden spear tipped with obsidian, a flimsy reed shield, and a padded cotton tunic that feels more like a target than armor. A grizzled warrior gives you a crash course in thrusting and blocking, but it's laughably brief. Your modern self, used to binge-watching action movies, not living them, is trembling. The spear's weight feels wrong, and your shield might as well be cardboard against the enemy's obsidian blades. The waiting is torture. You're posted at the city's edge, staring into the jungle. Every rustle, a potential ambush. The air's thick with humidity and dread. Your heart pounding louder than the distant drums. Hours stretch into days. Sleep a distant memory as you clutch your weapon, haunted by thoughts of what's coming. The Maya built walls and earthworks to protect cities like yours, but those defenses feel flimsy now. When the attack hits, it's chaos. Warriors burst from the trees, faces painted, their war cries chilling your blood. Spears clash, clubs thud, and the air fills with dust and screams. You swing your spear, driven by raw fear, but it's a clumsy mess. You're not fighting for glory, you're fighting to survive. The Maya prized capturing enemies over killing, especially for sacrifices. And that thought chills you. If you're caught, you could end up enslaved or, worse, bound for the altar, your heart offered to the gods. If your city holds, you limp back, battered but alive, to bury the dead and patch the wounded. Victory is hollow. Another attack could come tomorrow. If you lose, it's worse your home looted, your family gone, your fate, a coin toss between slavery and sacrifice. Even in peace, war's shadow lingers. Crops are trampled, trade stalls, and resources vanish into military prep. You're exhausted, your nerves frayed, craving the safety of a world where war is just a news ticker. In the Mayan Empire, it's a relentless spectre, and you're not built for this battlefield. The battle's dust settles, and your city lies in ruins. Enemy warriors herd survivors, and you're among them. Wrists bound with coarse rope, heart pounding with dread. In the Mayan Empire, around 700 CE, enslavement is a terrifying possibility that looms over every commoner like a storm cloud. One misstep, war, crime, or sheer bad luck, and you're no longer free. Your property, your life stripped to bare survival. Warfare between city-states like Tikal and Kalakmul is relentless, and captives are a grim prize. You're marched through the jungle, the air thick with sweat and fear, the cries of others echoing your own terror. Some collapse from exhaustion or disease, but you reach a bustling market, displayed like livestock. A noble buys you, his gaze cold, assessing your worth for labor, not your humanity. Your new reality begins. As a slave Penkatob in Mayan society, you're the lowest rung, below even commoners, war captives, criminals, orphans, or children of slaves. You have no rights, no voice. Your days are endless toil hauling stones for towering temples. Your back screaming under the weight, or tending fields under the whip of an overseer. Domestic slaves fare no better, fetching water or serving nobles from dawn to dusk, always at their whim. Disobedience brings beatings, whippings, or worse, your life hangs by their mercy. The work is brutal, but the fear is worse. While high-status captives, like enemy nobles, are often chosen for sacrifice to appease gods like Chark, slaves aren't always spared. In some rituals, you could be painted blue, led to a pyramid's peak, and stretched over a stone altar. Your heart offered to the heavens. Though not the norm, the possibility haunts you, a shadow over every grueling day. Archaeological evidence, like figurines showing bound figures, hints at this grim fate, making every temple you build a potential tomb. You're a modern soul, used to rights, choices, a world where freedom is a given. Here, you're nothing a tool, expendable, your identity erased. The psychological toll is crushing, no hope of escape, no end to the labor, just the constant dread of punishment or sacrifice. You lie on a hard mat at night, body aching, mind racing with thoughts of your old life grocery stores. Weekends, safety. In the Mayan Empire, slavery isn't just a loss of freedom, it's a theft of your humanity, a terror you're not built to endure. You wake to the piercing wail of morning cutting through the village, a sound that's become all too familiar. Another neighbor has slipped away, likely felled by a fever or a wound gone bad. In the Mayan Empire around 700 CE, death is a relentless guest, knocking far too often, with life expectancy barely reaching 30 years. Many don't survive childhood, and those who do face a gauntlet of dangers that make every day a gamble. You're no stranger to the heavy rituals that follow, but each loss chips away at your modern heart, craving the distance of hospitals and sanitized grief. The air hangs heavy with sorrow as you join the family in their hut. Diseases like pinta, leishmaniasis, and yellow fever stalk the community, spread by relentless mosquitoes and poor sanitation. Childbirth is a deadly risk for mother and babe, and a simple cut from farming can turn septic without antibiotics. Warfare and the occasional human sacrifice add to the toll, making death not just common but intimate. You've seen too many graves dug, too many faces vanish. The family prepares the body with care, wrapping it in cotton cloth and placing a piece of corn in the mouth, a symbol of rebirth and sustenance for the soul's journey through Xibalba. The underworld. Most commoners, like this neighbor, are buried beneath their home's dirt floor. The grave oriented north or west toward the Mayan heavens. A sprinkle of cinnabar, a red mineral, coats the body, believed to preserve flesh and ease the spirit's passage, its vibrant hue tying life to death. For nobles, the scene would be grander. You've heard of rulers laid in stone tombs within towering pyramids, their faces covered with jade masks, surrounded by pottery, food, and treasures for the afterlife. But here, in this humble hut, the burial is simple yet sacred. The family whispers prayers, ensuring the soul is ready for its perilous trek. Months later, you might return for a fire-entering ceremony, where offerings are burned at the grave to honor the departed. These rituals keep ancestors close, their spirits guarding the living. The Maya see death as a transformation, not an end. But the constant loss wears on you. Back home, death was rare, tucked away in sterile rooms. Here, it's raw, woven into every day. And the weight of it makes you ache for a world where grief isn't a daily ritual. The weight of the burial ceremony from yesterday lingers, the mournful wails still echoing in your ears as you try to shift gears and focus on the day ahead. Your family needs food, and after the endless grind of farming, you figure hunting might be a less miserable way to contribute. You grab a spear, still awkward in your hands, and head toward the jungle path, hoping to bag something edible. But before you can take 10 steps, your neighbor, a wiry man with a knowing grin, stops you. Not today, he says, shaking his head. It's Fia Aho. Bad day for hunting. You blink, confused. What does the day have to do with it? He chuckles, like you've just asked why water's wet. Each day has its own lord, its own energy. Today, Ahau rules better for ceremonies. Not chasing deer. Wait for 5 imics tomorrow. That's a good day for hunting. Your modern brain, wired for Google Calendar and to-do lists, short circuits. How do you even know what day it is, you ask? Half expecting a simple answer. Big mistake. He launches into an explanation that feels like a lecture from a time-traveling math professor. We follow the Zolkin, the sacred calendar of 260 days, 20-day names, 13 numbers, cycling together. Then there's the Harb, 365 days, with 18 months of 20 days plus 5 extra days. Together, they make the calendar round, repeating every 52 years. Today's Fia Ahau, Trei Kankin. You nod, pretending to follow. But it's like he's speaking in hieroglyphs. Back home, you'd check your phone for Tuesday, 10 a.m. and call it a day. Here, time is a cosmic puzzle. Each day tied to gods and energies that dictate what's safe or doomed. You try to pin him down. So, how many days until 5 imics? He squints, muttering calculations. Then shrugs. Ask the priest. They track it with codices and stars. Great. Another elite-only perk. Like everything else in this place. The Mayas' timekeeping is a marvel, rooted in their genius for astronomy. They watch the sun, moon, and planets with obsessive precision, crafting calendars that rivaled modern ones for accuracy. The Zolkin, tied to the moon's cycles and human gestation, guided rituals and farming. The Harb tracked the solar year, syncing with harvests. Together, they wove a mystical web where every day had a purpose: planting, praying, or avoiding jaguars. Priests used these cycles to pick auspicious dates, ensuring harmony with the cosmos. But for you, it's a bureaucratic nightmare with no user manual. You're used to clocks ticking out your day, alarms buzzing for meetings. Here, time's fluid, marked by the sun's arc or a priest's decree. You can't just schedule a hunt. You need divine approval from a calendar you don't understand. It's not just confusing, it's paralyzing. Miss the right day, and you're not just late, you're tempting fate. The Maya thrived on this system, their lives in sync with the stars. But you're lost, yearning for a simple next Wednesday and a world where time doesn't feel like a riddle designed to break you. You're parched, your throat as dry as the jungle floor after a long day of dodging, timekeeping riddles and cosmic calendars, spotting a villager with a gourd. You hope it's filled with water. You croak, but they just stare, uncomprehending. You try agua. Forgetting Spanish hasn't been invented yet, and it wouldn't help anyway. Desperate, you point to your mouth and mime drinking. The villager frowns, muttering something that sounds like a mix of pops and whistles, nothing like English. You try to mimic their words, but your tongue stumbles over strange, throaty sounds, earning a chuckle that's kind but useless. You're still thirsty, and communication feels like chasing a jaguar through the jungle. Mayan languages, like the Cholan or Quichean spoken around 700 CE, are a world apart from your native tongue. Some, like Yucatec, is use tones, where a slight pitch change can turn water into snake, or worse. You're used to English, where pitch is just for emphasis, not meaning. Even if you catch a word, the grammar's amaze verbs come first, then objects, then subjects, flipping everything you know. You might learn drink, but fumble the order, saying gibberish instead of I want water. Your high school Spanish, with its neat sentences, is as useful as a stone tablet in a Wi-Fi cafe. The sounds are another hurdle. Mayan languages have ejective consonants sharp. Popping sounds like t or k that your mouth can't quite nail. It's like trying to speak while hiccuping. You try to say, please, but it comes out as a garbled cough, and the villager's smile fades to confusion. Even gestuurd, your last resort. Backfire. Pointing at the gourd seems universal, but maybe it's rude here, or means something else entirely. Without cultural cues, you're a walking fupa, risking offense with every wave, every interaction getting food, asking directions, or just surviving hinges on language, and you're sinking fast. You strain to pick up phrases, but the complex verb forms, with prefixes and suffixes for every tense and mood, feel like decoding hieroglyphs without a guide. The Maya navigate this effortlessly, their words flowing like the rivers they worship. But you're a stranger in their linguistic world. By dusk, you're exhausted, frustrated, and still parched, dreaming of a translator app or even a phrasebook. In 700 CE, you're on your own. And the language barrier isn't just daunting, it's a wall you slam into with every wordless plea. One day here, and you're mute in a world that demands fluency. You're still reeling from the language barrier. Your clumsy attempts at Mayan words earning you nothing but puzzled looks and a parched throat. Now, as you stumble back to the village, a new nightmare looms. You've been conscripted to help build a temple. Not a quaint little shrine, but a towering limestone pyramid, like Tikal's temple of the Great Jaguar, soaring 55 meters into the jungle sky. In 700 CE, this is no side hustle. It's a grueling, soul-crushing labor tax. And you're not getting a paycheck or a power tool to ease the pain. Welcome to the Mayan construction site, where every stone feels like a personal vendetta. Your day starts at dawn, trudging to a nearby quarry with a stone chisel in hand because, surprise, metal tools haven't been invented here. You're hacking at limestone with a harder stone, each swing jarring your bones, dust clogging your lungs. Shaping a single block takes hours, and you need thousands for the pyramid's stepped levels. Your modern arms, used to typing or maybe lifting a grocery bag, are screaming for mercy. The Maya quarried locally, but local still means hauling heavy blocks through tangled jungle paths. Transporting these stones is where the real fun begins. No wheels, no pack animals, just you and a tump line. A strap around your forehead, tied to a pack on your back. You hoist a block, your spine groaning under the weight, and shuffle toward the site. It's like carrying a fridge on your head, except the fridge is a jagged rock, and the path is a root-strewn obstacle course. Some say the Maya used logs to roll stones, but mostly it's human muscle doing the heavy lifting. You're sweating buckets, insects feasting on your skin, and the sun's cooking you alive. At the site, the pyramid's taking shape layer upon layer of rubble core faced with cut stones. You mix mortar by hand. Burning limestone with wood, you chopped yourself, the smoke stinging your eyes. Each layer requires precision, aligning with the stars for cosmic approval. But your job is the grunt work hauling, stacking, sweating. The heat's brutal, the humidity a wet blanket, and a misstep could mean a crushed foot or worse. Safety gear dream on. If you're lucky, a healer's nearby with some herbs. But don't count on it. The workforce is massive hundreds, maybe thousands, of commoners like you, conscripted during the dry season when farming slows. Slaves pitch in too, their lives even bleaker. Skilled artisans carve glyphs and serpent masks into the stones. Their work a dazzling contrast to your endless slog. Temples like Tikal's took years, maybe decades, to complete. Each block a testament to human endurance. You're part of something epic. Sure, but your body's begging for a bulldozer and a union brake. You collapse at dusk, muscles throbbing, hands blister, dreaming of cranes and air-conditioned offices, the Maya-built wonders that stand centuries later. But you're not cut out for this monumental grind. One day on this site, and you're ready to trade your chisel for a time machine. You're still reeling from the back-breaking labor of hauling stones for a temple. Your muscles screaming for a break that's nowhere in sight. Now, your village elder hands you a new task. Deliver a message to a neighboring city. Say, from Tikal to Calakmul, about 100 kilometers away. In your modern life, you'd jump in a car, crank the AC, and be there in a couple of hours, maybe grabbing a coffee en route. Here, in the Mayan Empire around 700 CE, it's a grueling trek that'll test your endurance and patience to the breaking point. Buckle up, or rather, lace up those flimsy sandals, because travel here is a nightmare. Your options are limited. Walk along a sakbiob, one of those raised limestone roads connecting Mayan cities. Or, if you're near a river or coast, paddle a canoe. Let's try the sakbiob first. These roads are engineering marvels, paved with stucco over stone and rubble, raised a few feet to avoid flooding. But they're not built for comfort. You're trudging through jungle heat, humidity wrapping you like a wet towel. Your sandals slipping on the smooth surface. Every step jars your knees, and the 12 to 32 foot wide path feels endless, stretching through dense greenery with no shade in sight. Carrying anything, tough luck. The Maya had no horses or wheels, so you're the pack mule, hauling a basket of maize or tools on your back with a tumpline strapped to your forehead. It's like lugging a backpack full of bricks, except the straps dig into your skull. Merchants pass you, their loads swaying, faces set in grim determination. You're not built for this. Your modern legs are used to escalators, not marathon hikes through a sauna. Maybe a canoe sounds better. If you're near a river or coast, you climb into a dugout carved from a massive tree trunk, about 15 meters long and heavy as sin. Paddling is a full-body workout, your arms burning as you fight currents or dodge rocks. Hit a shallow spot or rapids, you're portaging, dragging that beast overland. Coastal trips aren't much easier. Storms, waves, and the risk of pirates make every paddle stroke a gamble. You're no sailor. Your idea of boating is a lazy float on a lake, not navigating uncharted waters with no GPS. There's no map, no road signs, just vague directions from a villager. Follow the river until the big ceiba tree. Your modern brain, spoiled by apps and clear signage, is lost. You're at the mercy of landmarks and starlight. Skills you don't have. No rest stops. No motels, just you. The jungle. And whatever you can carry for food or water. A wrong turn could mean days lost. Or worse, a run-in with a jaguar or rival warriors. Travel here isn't just slow, it's a survival test. A 100-kilometer trip could take days on foot, maybe less by canoe. But either way, it's exhausting, risky, and disorienting. You're dreaming of cars, planes, even a rickety bus, anything but this endless slog. The Maya made it work, linking cities and trade routes with grit and know-how. But you're one muddy step away from begging for a time machine. The priest strides into the village square, his face painted with intricate designs, his headdress glowing with feathers under torchlight. Tomorrow is the zenith passage. He booms. The sun will stand overhead at noon. Prepare the offerings. You're baffled. Zenith passage, you whisper to your neighbor, who's grinding maize. She sighs. It's when the sun's directly above us. Twice a year. Sacred time. We honor the gods. You nod. But you're lost. Wondering how they pinpoint this. The Maya. It turns out, are cosmic wizards, tracking the sun with eerie precision using temple observatories, slits in stone aligning with solar events like a celestial clock. It's not just the sun. They're obsessed with Venus, the moon, Mars. Even Jupiter's dance across the sky. Venus, no X. Rules, war, and harvests. Its morning star phase signals battles. Evening star, rituals for crops. You're expected to know this. As if farming and weaving weren't enough. Every day carries cosmic weight planting, praying, or avoiding bad omens hinges on the stars. Miss a que, and you risk divine wrath, drought. Famine, or worse, their calendars drive this madness. The Tzolk'in, a 260-day ritual cycle, mixes 20-day names with 13 numbers, each combo dictating actions. The Hub, a 365 day solar calendar, tracks harvests with 18 months of 20 days, plus 5 unlucky ones. Together, they form the calendar round, cycling every 52 years. It's like juggling 2 planners with godly stakes. Priests read the heavens, decreeing when to act. But you're clueless, craving a simple app to decode this. Astronomy here isn't science, it's religion. Temples align with Venus's rise. Rituals mark Jupiter's conjunctions. The stars are divine messages, and you're supposed to read them. Back home, stars were just twinkles. Here, they're life or death memos. You lie awake, staring at the sky, overwhelmed. Learning Venus's phases or the Tzolk'in's quirks feels like cracking quantum physics while dodging jaguars. The Maya's stargazing is genius. But for you, it's a ritualistic maze. One misstep from cosmic disaster. You're finally catching a break from the relentless grind of farming and temple building. But don't get too comfortable. Your village elder decides it's time for you to learn the Mayan way of counting because apparently, even numbers aren't safe from the empire's complexity. You're handed a slate with some dots and bars, and the elder starts explaining the system. We use base 20. He says, as if that's the most natural thing in the world. 20 fingers and toes. You see, you blink, trying to wrap your head around it. Wait. So instead of 10, you count to 20, he nods, and you feel a headache coming on. Back home, you're used to base 10, where 10 fingers are all you need. Here, it's like they're making you do mental gymnastics just to buy a tortilla. The elder shows you the symbols: a dot for 1, a bat for 5, and a shell for 0. 0, you ask. Surprised. Yeah, we've had that for ages. He says, Zmugli. You're impressed. Your ancestors were still using Roman numerals when the Maya were already rocking a positional system with 0. But then he starts stacking these symbols, and your brain starts to melt. He writes a number 3 dots on top. 2 bars below. That's 13. He says, you count 3 ones are 3. 2 5s are 10. Total 13. Okay, that makes sense. But then he adds another level. Stacking more dots and bars vertically, this is 260. He says, pointing to a column with 13 dots and 0 bars in the first position, and 13 dots again in the second. Wait, No, that's not right. In base 20, the first position is ones, the second is 20s. So 13 dots in the first position is 13. And 13 dots in the second position is 13 times 20, which is 260. Got it. But then he throws in the 0. See this shell here? He points to a position with just a shell. That means there's nothing in that place value. So it's like our decimal system, where 0 holds a place. You're starting to see the pattern, but it's still a lot to take in. The Maya can write really big numbers with this system, which is why they're so good at astronomy and calendars. They need to track long periods of time, like the long count calendar that goes back thousands of years. You try to write a number yourself. Let's say you want to write 100 in base 20. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So 5 20s, which is 5 bars in the second position, and 0 in the first. So a shell. But wait, 5 times 20 is 100. So yes, it's 5 bars in the second position and a shell in the first. But the Maya didn't write it that way, they wrote it vertically, with the highest place value at the top. So, for 100, it would be 5 bars in the top position, which is 5 times 20 equals 100. And since there's nothing in the lower positions, you might not even write them. Or you might put shells to indicate 0, but in practice, they often omitted the zeros if they weren't necessary. You're getting confused again. The elder sees your furrowed brow and chuckles. Don't worry. It takes time. Even our kids struggle with it at first. Great. So you're on par with a Mayan 5-year-old. That's not exactly confidence boosting. But then you think about it, the Maya were able to do complex calculations with this system, like predicting eclipses and aligning their buildings with the stars. They didn't have calculators or computers. They did it all with dots, bars, and shells. That's impressive. But it's also a reminder of how much easier our lives are with modern technology. You try to imagine doing your taxes in base 20, with dots and bars instead of digits. It would be a nightmare. But for the Maya, this was just everyday life. They didn't have a choice. They had to make it work. And they did. Brilliantly. As you hand back the slate, you realize that while the Mayan number system is intricate and abstract, it's also a testament to human ingenuity. They found a way to represent numbers that worked for their needs, even if it's not the way we do it today. And who knows, maybe in some alternate universe, we're all counting in base 20, and the Maya are laughing at our primitive base 10 system. But for now, you're just glad you don't have to learn it for real. You've got enough on your plate with farming, building, and not getting sacrificed. Math can wait. You're still reeling from the mental gymnastics of Mayan math, those dots and bars haunting your dreams. When the village scribe decides to up the ante, he unrolls a strip of bark paper, its surface crawling with intricate symbols that look like a cross between art and a secret code. These are glyphs, he says, his tone dripping with pride. Learn them. You stare, hoping for a spark of understanding, but it's like trying to read an alien menu. Welcome to the Mayan writing system, where knowledge is power, and you're not invited to the party. The Maya's script is a masterpiece, blending logograms, symbols for whole words like jaguar or king with syllabic glyphs that spell out sounds. It's the only true writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas, capable of capturing full spoken language, unlike anything else in the New World. But here's the rub, it's not for you. Only the elite priests, nobles, and trained scribes get to play with this toy. You, a commoner, are expected to keep grinding maize, not decoding hieroglyphs. You try to make sense of a glyph that looks like a snarling snake. That's Khan, for yellow or precious. The scribe explains. Then he points to a foot-like squiggle. That's tsui. Rabbit. Your brain short-circuits. A foot means rabbit. He goes on, some glyphs are phonetic, building words sound by sound, while others represent whole ideas. It's like learning two languages at once, with a side of calligraphy. The scribe's been at this since he was a kid, trained in a temple school you'll never see. You're starting from zero, and it's not the cool Mayan zero either. You ask if everyone reads this stuff. The scribe snorts. Just us scribes and the priests. The rest of you hear the king's decrees or the god's will through us. So, writing isn't just a skill, it's a gatekeeper. The elite use it to record history, track stars, and scribble prophecies on codices, bark paper books folded like accordions. Imagine wanting to jot down a note or read a story, but you can't. Back home, you'd grab a book or tap out a text. Here, literacy is a luxury, like yate or kokao, reserved for those at the top. You're stuck listening to the scribe's proclamations, hoping you don't miss a divine order to plant or pray. It's humbling, and not the fun kind. The Maya's glyphs are genius, but for you, they're a locked door. A reminder, you're an outsider in a world where knowledge is power, and you're powerless. One day of this, and you're begging for a pen and a post-it note. You're still grappling with the elite's cryptic glyphs, your head spinning from their locked-away knowledge. When the village buzzes with excitement, it's game day pits, the Mayan ball game, and the whole community's heading to the eye-shaped court in the city centre. You think, finally, something fun, but hold that thought. This isn't a casual pickup game, it's a brutal, high-stakes ritual that could leave you bruised, broke, or worse. In the Mayan Empire around 700 CE, pits is no mere sport, it's a cosmic showdown. And you're not ready for the intensity. Picture the scene, the court's a narrow alley of stone, flanked by high walls with stone hoops perched 6 meters up, like unreachable goals, mocking your athletic skills. The ball, a solid rubber beast the size of a soccer ball but heavy as a bowling ball, bounces with a thud that echoes like a warning. You're told to hit it with your hips, elbows, or knees, no hands, no feet. Your modern self, used to shooting hoops or kicking a soccer ball, is already wincing. One wrong move, and that ball's knocking you flat. The game kicks off, and it's chaos. Players slam into each other, hips crashing against the rubber missile, aiming to keep it aloft or, rarely, thread it through the hoop. Scoring through the hoop is a feat most games end when the ball hits the ground twice or reaches an end zone. The crowd roars, betting everything from cacao beans to their own freedom. You overhear a guy wager his cloak, another risks his kid's labour. Lose big, and you could end up enslaved. The stakes are sky high, and you're just a spectator. Thank the gods. But the myths make it darker. You've heard whispers losers get sacrificed, their hearts offered to appease the gods. Is it true scholars say it's unlikely? There's no solid evidence that losing meant death. You're not playing today, but the thought chills you. The physical toll is no joke either. Players wear padded belts and arm guards, but the heavy ball can bruise or break bones. Collisions are brutal, and the court's stone walls don't forgive. It's tied to the Popol Vuh's hero twins, who played against underworld lords, symbolizing life versus death. For a modern person, pits is a nightmare. You're used to low-stakes games, maybe a pickup match with friends. No worse than a sprained ankle. Here, it's a grueling, high-pressure ritual where a bad day could cost your freedom or, in rare cases, your life. The Maya saw it as sacred a dance of power and faith. But you're dreaming of a couch and a sports channel. Far from this brutal court, you're sprawled on your woven mat, the echoes of the brutal pits game still ringing in your ears, your body aching from a day that felt like a survival marathon. The Mayan Empire, around 700 CE, has thrown everything at you: swelteringly unbearable jungles, back-breaking labor, and a ball game that's more gladiatorial than recreational. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fire, you're hit with a wave of longing for your modern life. The conveniences you took for granted, air conditioning, grocery stores, a comfy bed, are now a cruel mirage, and you're ready to tap out. Let's unpack why you wouldn't last a day in this relentless world. The jungle's heat and humidity are your first nemesis. You're used to climate control, flipping a switch to escape the summer swelter. Here, you're drenched in sweat, swarmed by mosquitoes, with no fan or bug spray to save you. The hut you call home offers no relief, just a dirt floor and a thatch roof that leaks during rain. Compare that to your memory foam mattress and Wi-Fi router, and it's clear why you're already homesick. Daily tasks are another blow. Farming means hours of hacking at soil with a stick, your back screaming for an ergonomic chair. Cooking involves grinding mesa until your arms give out. A far cry from popping a meal in the microwave. Even hygiene is a chore. No flush toilets, just a leaf and a stream. Your modern reliance on apps for food delivery or a quick shower leaves you woefully unprepared for this grind. Then there's the social and spiritual weight. The rigid hierarchy keeps you at the bottom, your every move dictated by nobles and priests. Religious rituals, from offerings to potential sacrifices, loom like a storm cloud. Unlike the casual spirituality of your old life, the constant threat of warfare or enslavement adds a fear you've never known. Far from the safety of modern laws and police, the Maya were resilient, building a civilization that thrived for centuries with ingenuity and grit. Their pyramids, calendars, and glyphs are testaments to their brilliance. But their world demands a toughness you don't have. You're soft, spoiled by instant coffee and Netflix, unable to match their endurance. As you lie there, the jungle's night chorus mocking your exhaustion, you realize survival here isn't just physical, it's mental, cultural, spiritual. You'd beg for a time machine, not just for comfort, but for the freedom to be yourself, not a cog in this ancient machine. So, why wouldn't you last? Because every moment tests your limits, and your modern comforts have left you defenseless. The Maya's world is a masterpiece of human adaptation, but it's a brutal one, and you're not built for it. As the stars wheel above, whispering secrets you'll never decode, you close your eyes, dreaming of a world where hardship means a slow internet connection. Sleep now, if you can, and let the jungle fade into a distant hum. As the night deepens, the jungle's cacophony softens to a gentle hum, a lullaby of rustling leaves and distant calls. You're exhausted, your body heavy from a day of relentless challenges, farming, trading, dodging the gods' demands. The Mayan Empire, with its towering pyramids and starlit wisdom, is a marvel, but it's not your world. You're a stranger here, yearning for the soft glow of a screen, the hum of a fridge, the ease of a life where survival doesn't demand every ounce of you. The Maya thrived through resilience, their lives woven into the jungle's rhythm, their hearts beating with the pulse of their gods. You admire them, their strength, a quiet lesson in endurance. But you're ready to leave. Let the fire's embers fade, the stars blur above, and the weight of this ancient world slip away. Drift now, back to your time, where comfort waits like an old friend. Sleep deeply, carried by the whisper of a world you'll never truly know.